So Search for Sam 1. And the first proposal is actually taking very specifically that exact idea, the Search for Sam, and just trying to make a 2021 replica of that project. So we saw the what it looked like originally, and here is like a sample page from it. You know, I think I was 6 or 7. I may have worked at 6, 7, or 8 years old when I was making this. But you can see there's ninjas. There's all kinds of different characters, superheroes. There's like a superhero cat. There's a house. There's like a bank robber. All kinds of different things going on. So this is what I would be trying to like replicate. Obviously using the skills I have now as opposed to the skills I had then. And make a really cool search and find book with hidden characters and visual puns and a lot of funny different things going on and references to all kinds of things that was from my childhood. So that is a perfect example of what it looks like. Again, here was the cover, and here is, let's see. Okay, so that's number 3. So, and here is the first part of that proposal. So this is like the logo redrawn. So that is Sam. I also included Find the Bird, which was another search and find that I made when I was a kid. But this is proposal 1, the Search for Sam, using this really bright color scheme and kind of like focusing on this character and these, like things that I loved as a child growing up in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, and kind of like really focusing on that color scheme and those things that were kind of going on at that time. The things that it would really focus on is like, I would make it a 6-page, and similar to like a Where's Waldo, where the pages would be double. So, the book itself would actually be 12 pages, but 6-page double image scenery. And I would probably focus on the things that I was really focusing on when I was a kid. So they would be aliens, superheroes, ninjas, dragons, and knights. So those would each be a scene. And then also I'd probably focus on my childhood, like neighborhood and home as one, which was actually the one that I showed the sample from my childhood. Kind of like it actually took my childhood home in St. Louis Park and my block and neighborhood, and it kind of merged things that were happening in the neighborhood, but then also overlaying like superheroes and different things that were going on. So it was kind of like my imagination as a kid of all the things that, what was happening at the little park and what was happening at the different places. So that would be a 6-page search and find with that. And also the things that would be hidden would be all the things that I, was doing as a kid. So I loved hiding keys and like baseball cards and treasures and things like that you get to find. There'd be visual puzzles. So like each page would be an actual visual puzzle with some kind of like thing you're trying to figure out. Maybe it wouldn't be fully spelled out for you. Maybe at the end of the book or something, it would kind of be like, did you notice that there's, these other kind of like things to figure out, like little puzzles to solve. And of course, visual puns, always doing that kind of stuff. So maybe trying to throw, 10 visual puns or more, like a bunch of them into each page, so that you might be able to piece that together as you're looking as well. So that is pretty much the Search for Sam. It would be bright colors. It'd be really focused on fun, and just everything that makes you think of childhood. So a lot of nostalgic things, at least from that era. And that's proposal number 1. And again, I would be really trying to stick to the things that I was really focused on when I was making Search for Sam as a kid. So there we go. Okay, so proposal number 2 is taking the same kind of concept, a hidden search and find, 6-page probably book, roughly same format. Only this one would be called Looking for Jay, which, so my dad passed away 8 years ago. And he is somebody that, there's just so many great memories of him. He was somebody that loved to be kind of like behind the scenes, hidden. He never wanted to be, the big attention. He never wanted all the attention, but he was always coming up with little jokes and funny things. And so what I am proposing with this one is really using a search and find book as a way to kind of like go back through and highlight some of the memories and talk about Jay in a way that really kind of fits his personality. And Jay, while being very quiet, was always somebody that would be thinking a lot about his family and his friends and things like that. So this version of the book would be kind of like he was a mailman, so we'd be highlighting maybe his mail route, and he had all kinds of funny stories about the people that he would help out on his mail route. Some people that he'd go in and change their light bulbs, or he would develop relationships with their dogs, or they'd play funny jokes on him and stuff like that. So that would be part of it. Another part of it would be the characters that our family that surrounded him. I mean, he cared a lot about his family and us, and so that would be a big part of the story. Is also finding my mom Lori, and then me and my brother Billy and Scotty, and Cartoon Dog was one of the things he loved to draw, was Cartoon Dog. So it would be taking like all of these memories from him, and behind me here is a stack of these are just ideas of memories. Since he's passed away, I've been collecting kind of stories, and I've been thinking about doing a comic book or a graphic novel, but it's been really hard to write something for someone that he never lived his life, and his personality was not to be someone that would be a main character in a comic book necessarily, but to be a main character in a search and find book where he's kind of hidden in the background and all these other things are happening around him, things that he cared a lot about. And that would be a really important and kind of congruous to his personality. He loves stuff happening around him and making things happen and supporting them and doing that. So this would be that kind of thing. And it would be really focused on Minnesota very specifically as well. Really trying to highlight, what it was like growing up in Minnesota. And because that is very tied into Jay and his experience. And sample 3 here. One of the things that was big part of our, youth was the Mega Mall, in Minnesota. And so that would be a perfect page, a 2-page spread of all the things, like some of the memories are the earliest memories of the Mega Mall opening up and going there and different things. So it would be a kind of a mixture of things that were happening throughout the whole experience of the Mega Mall as we were growing up. And trying to find Jay there would be really fun. The St. Louis Park neighborhood, that would be like his mail route, him delivering mail to the different ones. The racetrack in Canterbury Downs, and there was a theme park there as well, Valley Fair. And so that was a place that we went often. My dad loved the racetrack. And there's some hilarious stories where he kind of got tricked into being a mascot. He wore this, you won a prize, you get to be the mascot. And basically that meant that you had to work for free wearing this giant horse mascot that was so hot. It was like kind of like slave labor, but they're like, you won, he got like a $50, a free $50 bet or something as a prize, but he had to work for 8 hours wearing this hot suit as part of the prize. It was kind of a clever trick that they played on him, and it wasn't really winning a contest. It was great. Just little stuff like that. And we had such fun as a family there at the racetrack. And then I also thought about doing our trip to the Rose Bowl, which was on Y2K. My dad was literally on the plane with only one other person in the pilot because everybody was scared of Y2K. and he was flying. So that was really fun. And we did take a trip to Montreal, which was awesome. So those would be some other ideas, is like seeing our Midwestern family traveling to the Rose Bowl and to Montreal, and having us, drawing those memories into the story. So that would be 5 different pages. There'd be one more, but doing 6 pages, kind of like remembering all the different things, all these memories, growing up with Jay and the family, just all that kind of stuff. And again, one of the things that we'd be focused on when we're finding stuff would be Jay wrote about, he wrote me probably 500 postcards in my lifetime. And same to my brother. He would, every week in college, I would get another postcard, and he worked as a mailman, so he did that a lot, but he also did that to a lot of other relatives and family. He sent postcards all the time. So that would be one thing that we'd be finding in the Looking for Jay, would be his postcards that he's writing to different people. And we'd be trying to find childhood pets, and of course the family that I mentioned earlier, and of course Jay, and making sure that, really having these places and things and experiences that he loved kind of hidden around in the images. And so that is the proposal for Looking for Jay. It would be really focused on childhood memories. It'd be really focused on Minnesota, and kind of paying a tribute to these places that were such a big, important time in my life, and in the whole of Jay's life. We'll probably do one of the scenes should probably be Jordan, Minnesota, also, where Jay grew up. And I was going to show, just as a supplement to that proposal, just a couple of the drawings that I've done for these were actually ones that I did. Let me move this off. For when I was thinking of Jay in a comic book style, so like him walking with his postman suit, him grilling up sausages, and just how much snow there was, him jumping over dogs and throwing mail letters, just little things, just little memories like that. And I thought some of that could be either like the first and last pages, could be just kind of like almost like comic book style memories of things that happened, that would kind of supplement the story that's going on. So that is the search, or the Looking for Jay. And I think I had, I think that's the full one for that. Okay, now proposal number 3 is slightly different. Proposal 3 is, let's see, actually let's start, I guess this is a good one. This is, let's do poster 1 actually here. So basically, I'm calling this proposal the giant poster. So everything I just mentioned with Search for Sam and also Looking for Jay, imagine them put together in a giant 4-foot long poster. And what I'm really thinking with this is trying to basically merge all of these ideas into one image, where there'd be a ton of stuff going on, and interlapping. So we would have, the Search for Sam is so much about that childhood whimsy and the different fantasies and ideas that you have as a kid, and kind of like going into the fantasies of that. And then on the other side, Looking for Jay is really about like the actual memories of what actually was happening at the time. And this giant poster would be the idea of kind of like overlaying those two things on top of each other and making, you're finding Sam and all of my childhood kind of things that I love to draw and hide. And then Looking for Jay would be, like all of those Minnesota things that I just mentioned, or at least, picking a couple of them and kind of overlaying them into this giant poster. So this idea is only one image and not 6 separate images, but would be like a really cool way to kind of honor both ideas into one big thing. And maybe, it could fold out, or I could roll it up and have it one, a giant picture. And let's see. Yeah, so 4 feet long, high quality, featuring all the different characters that I mentioned, child influences and adult influences, and then using the Minnesota memories and imaginary lands together. That is the giant poster concept. Again, both of them would use bright colors and kind of use that style, kind of cartoony style. But it would be a way to kind of like do all of it in one, and it would be less of a book form and more of a, really just one image, kind of like tying it all together. So those are my 3 proposals that I am putting forward for vote to the patrons. And we're going to be choosing one of them, and I'll be then continuing this project to completion. And the goal would be to have it, done by 2022. And really, work on it, make sure that I'm doing the best I can with it and getting as much feedback about what should and shouldn't be hidden in there. I think it'd be really fun to hide these emotes that are, of the patrons that are helping support and make this happen. Hiding the emotes or hiding other parts of the childhood drawing tournament. Billy Money could be hidden in there, or, some of the other characters like the candlestick could be hidden in there and things like that. So there's really a lot of option for what to hide in there, and I would be asking a lot of help from the patrons to decide what that would be. So those are my 3 projects. I'm going to pull them up all one more time. So this is the giant poster, again thinking of both. The J, looking for J. Here's the logo for that. And I like that image of Jay. That's actually, I would probably be choosing images from different times in his life, depending on, what the scene is. But I really like that, I like seeing him. That's really similar to what he looked like, the last time I saw him. And so it's just really cool to think about and, kind of imagine him still be here. And I was laughing earlier, just some of the, memories. It in a lot of ways, it's a great way for me to be just thinking of him and remembering all of the stuff that kind of, I miss and things from childhood. So pretty fun. Looking for Jay. That was proposal 2. And then proposal number 1 is The Search for Sam. And that's this. And this is I had a blast kind of like redrawing this because it really did make me think of being a kid again. And I actually had a couple of comic strips which I wasn't able to find just going through some of my scanned files, but basically it was Sam. I don't remember if I did it before or after I did the search for Sam, but he was like a comic strip character that I made, and he would, make bad jokes. They weren't well written at all, imagining a 7 or 8 year old's humor, but it was really fun to redraw him and use this color scheme that I used on the original book. Yeah, it's just really cool to kind of revisit these ideas, and it would be really fun to kind of like really examine some of these search and find books that I did make, and kind of like think about how to redraw them in 2021 using, the skills that I have now. So I think I could do, pay homage to the true essence of what those books, what I was trying to do as a kid. So it would be really fun to try it. So that is The Search for Sam. All right, thank you everybody for checking that out and checking out the proposals. Whew. Okay. And if you guys